Welcome back to Data Driven Buzz. I am thrilled to announce our guest for today, Cassie Durebito Hexton. She hails from the vibrant heart of Colorado and is an experienced marketing data analyst with her focus on customer relationship management, providing actionable data insights, and digital strategy. Cassie also emphasized the importance of work life synergy. Her role is very challenging as a marketing analyst, but she tries to balance it all with also being a super mom on the other side. Get ready to learn about top marketing strategies. Cassie, very, very welcome to the channel. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We have very similar roles in different industries. I was just so looking forward to this conversation, just talking to someone who feels the same challenge of marketing analysis. Like presenting data is one of the hardest thing, right? It's so hard to visualize data, presenting it so that people understand the insight. And at the same time, being a parent, again, we share some more things in common. Like parenthood is also tough with having an active career. Just a fun note about Cassie. She was actually studying about film and video production in college. And from there, you found your way, a unique path into marketing. So, how did that happen, Cassie?
Yeah, so I went to school and I majored in film, and it was a kind of a create your own major program. So it ended up being psychology, philosophy, and film, and understanding why people like the films that they do. So it was film spectatorship.
Mm.
And it's funny now that you think about it because it was kind of the psychology behind film, which is marketing is kind of the psychology behind people.
Mm.
So I was already doing it back then without realizing it. So then I worked in film for a while, realized that wasn't for me, and then kind of fell into, I found a job at a radio advertising company and was trafficking, just basically trafficking commercial ads for different clients, advertising ads. And just kind of ended up going through, then I worked at a promotional marketing company and I worked at a media agency and I just kind of fell into that world and realized that I enjoyed um, so I enjoyed, understanding campaigns and helping clients better, better their campaigns. But then I realized I enjoyed the reporting aspect of it the most.
Mm.
The end of the month reporting or pulling data for the clients and either my dad or my husband or someone at the time said, you can do just that part for a job.
Yeah.
You can be a data analyst. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So I did a SQL. I played it with some SQL queries and just kind of started writing SQL. And I was like, okay, this is actually how my brain works.
Yeah.
This is and then yeah, just kind of. And then I actually did a data boot camp in
Mm.
2019, and kind of set me up with a little bit of the basics, and then became a data analyst. And I was a data analyst at a company that was just kind of more working with
Hmm.
technicians in the field. And then I trained the next job and the job I currently have, I was more marketing focused, which is kind of my sweet spot. So
Yeah.
kind of sticking in there for now.
Very, very cool. Very interesting. And you have been fortunate to work on both the sides, I assume. You have been an in-house marketer and you have also worked for media agencies, right? Obviously, your current role for Heady and Hop, where you're working as a marketing analytics in the healthcare industry. So that is also very interesting. Something we'll chat about later. But there was some interesting things that you brought up. For example, whenever someone approaches me and say that, "Hey, I want to become a data analyst," the first two things is like get better at Excel and learn SQL. I know that, I mean, the marketing landscape and data landscape is changing a lot with now generative AI, but I still feel like a very good core data skill can be learning SQL and just learning the basics of how you pull the data. And it's just so helpful, even in today, so relevant, Excel and uh,
Yeah.
SQL. So
Well, and I
yeah.
think too, I think it's you can learn I think the biggest thing I've learned as an analyst, you can learn all the tools you can. I've got SQL, Python, Alteryx, Power BI, Tableau.
Yeah.
You can put me in any of those and I can start working. But the biggest challenge and the most value that you'll drive as a data analyst, even regardless of the marketing or not, is being able to translate what business stakeholders or people need or think they need and be able to give them, they might ask for one thing, but they really want something else, or they're not really understanding why the data looks like this or the numbers look like this. And being able to translate or explain it to them in a way where they're like, oh, I understand, or
Yeah,
even just making sure the data is saying that, the right things. So I think, the tools are important, but it's the business, the underlying business understanding the business
yeah,
and the data behind the business, and then being able to translate that
yeah.
is the hardest and the most valuable.
So important. I'm glad you brought it up because, for example, whenever I join a new job, I started getting this fake confidence, like, wow, I'm so good at this. I know everything. And after a few months, I realized like the initially what I was providing, I had no idea about the business impact of it. I did not understand my customers. I did not understand what our company is about, what we are selling. And that business knowledge is just going to develop slowly with time. I mean, some people have an industry experience, but when you're new, I think the first 6 months you're just absorbing and just learning about what is happening. But I'm glad you brought out the importance of learning about your business. So I'm also a president of a local Toastmasters club where we improve people's public speaking skills and leadership skills. And last week we had a very interesting theme in our meeting. It was about AI and why human skills are still relevant in the AI age. And the two things that we came up with in the discussion was humans have this ability to do critical thinking, which AI is still like won't be able to give you. Like when you ask AI a question, they can guide you, but because without knowing that your business and your industry, they won't be able to critically think on a solution for you. And the second thing where we beat AI is empathy. Again, ability to work with different people, understanding their working styles, being empathetic to each other, that's something which AI cannot do. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's a very interesting take.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with both of those things, and we're all joking like, oh God, AI is going to replace us, but there's something to be said about human interaction and being able to talk to somebody and
Hmm.
bounce ideas off them or I'm not sure what this means, please help, and
Yeah.
AI is great for doing research or helping get deeper on a topic or understand it better, but you're not going to get there. I don't think you'll truly get there without people, without, talking to people.
Yeah. Perfect. Let's, before we deep dive into the role of marketing analyst and trying to make people understand what happens behind the scenes, I have some few fun icebreaker questions for you. So the first one is a very easy one. I think I know what you'll pick, but are you a mountain person or a beach person?
A mountain person. Well,
Colorado native.
yes, I know, but I don't like hiking.
That's funny.
So, I like to be in the mountains, but don't make me hike them.
It's too much work. So
Yep.
I lived in Minnesota for 4 years and I didn't learn skiing, and now I'm like, I think I missed it. So
Yeah, well, and I love skiing. Yeah, I don't think I could give up skiing. So,
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, then the next one is do you like pizzas or burgers?
Pizza.
Pizza? Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Pizza is better.
Well,
Oh,
especially different toppings too. You get to do, we make crazy pizzas at home sometimes, and that's fun.
wait, which one is your favorite style though? Like,
Uh, I mean, I think, well, I like like the pizza you get when you go to Italy. So it's kind of crispy crust, thinner, not too, I don't need deep dish or anything, but
oh yeah.
just like good quality toppings and some good cheese and then, flavorful bread, I guess.
Yeah. I like the New York style. I like to fold my pizza
Okay.
and eat it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. And I like some weird toppings, which my wife is like, absolutely. Like, she's like, no, like artichoke hearts. I put artichoke hearts on my
Yeah.
pizza,
Uh-huh.
and she's opposed to it.
No, I love Greek style pizzas where it's just any Greek topping you can put on there. I'll eat it.
Yeah, I love olives. There's a crazy theory that most of the couples, one person like olives, the other person don't like olives. So I don't know how is it between you
We
and your
both like
husband.
olives, and our kid likes olives too. We're just an olive family, I guess.
And all kinds. The
Um, okay, I don't like black olives. So, and my husband might probably does. So your theory might be true. It just depends on the olive.
and most of the time that's the topping that we usually get, the black olives.
Mhm.
Other people don't have that kalamati olives, which I really like.
Yeah, or
Most
the
of
green
them don't.
olive. Those are
Or
good
the
on
green
pizza.
olives. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. All right, the third one is interesting question. What do you think is more important, brand awareness or performance marketing?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, it depends on the goal, right? if it's a brand new company or they're trying to break into a competitive, field and landscape, then definitely brand awareness. But if they've been around for a while or they're not meeting goals or revenue goals, then definitely, let's figure out why and
Yeah.
performance in there.
That
So
is
it
a
depends.
that is a perfect answer because obviously based on the goal, it changes. I like performance marketing more in general, but you
Yeah.
said it depends on the company where they are in their like do the customers know them, and it depends on those sort of things.
Well, and brand awareness is so hard to, attribute
Measure,
and
so hard to
measure.
measure.
And,
Yeah,
it's a little more of, well, and that's where, an analyst or a strategic, a strategy person would come into play because then they can help tell the story and bridge try to bridge that
yeah,
attribution. Performance marketing is just more clearly, oh, well, these are the numbers and they're up from last year or last month and it looks like we're improving. So
yeah.
let's keep going.
That's also another interesting thing is that the marketing funnel is not linear anymore, right? Like you think you customer will find out about you, they might consider you and then sale, but often competitors come in the middle, right? And then your funnel is then like, okay, someone was about to consider them, but now they got a better pricing or something, so they might not consider us anymore, or they might come back later. And then also the measurement piece, you're not able to accurately measure like I mean you either do the last channel attribution or first channel, but sometimes it takes multiple efforts for a customer to buy something. So what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, therein literally lies the most difficult part of marketing. I feel like,
Our jobs, yeah.
and campaign measurement really. But I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean, I think we've struggled, or not in this, I'm not in my
Yeah.
current company, but as an analyst and in my last job, we've struggled with what is the right answer sometimes too. And I think as granular, the answer obviously as granular as you can get. I think splitting it out, so if you can have like kind of a CRM focus, if you can have,
Yeah.
a little more of an SEO and, each part of marketing, draw that out and
Mm.
be able to basically come up with like, even if the KPIs are different across each one, or,
Mm.
there's different measurements or metrics that are more important, or what is or for different businesses, like one client, they might have a different goal, based on their company than others,
Mm.
and focus on that one and come up with, specific KPIs that are driving the business that they need. So, and then be able to, you kind of structure your data around those KPIs. So then you're
Mm.
measuring exactly what. So instead of like, oh, well, their CTRs, great, they're clicking, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything for this client because what they actually need are conversions, or they need, something, or not even maybe conversions don't matter. They're just trying to get as many people, many eyes on as possible.
Yeah.
So really understanding, kind of, it's client or, yeah, it's client dependent
Hmm.
and understanding exactly what they need and then trying to come up with the most efficient way of monitoring success,
Yeah.
and then what does that look like and how does that translate into a KPI that can be measured and reported on and tracked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like most difficult question is which we get is why is our organic traffic declining?
Mhm.
Or if we write some blogs, okay, what is the impact of those blogs? And sometimes you don't see an immediate impact, right? So for
Yeah.
example, we are in the HVAC industry. We wrote a blog on gas furnaces, right? But the heating season is not here yet. Like we're still waiting for winter, so maybe our blog is still not gonna get eyes on it because it's still summer.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting. And sometimes something good happens and then you're still like, and it's when your marketing CMO is like, okay, how did this happen? And then you're just guessing, yeah, we are doing 10 different strategies and maybe this helped us get some good results, but sometimes you're not sure.
Yeah, well, and if you're moving multiple levers at one time, like you're not gonna be able to know which lever is actually doing what you want it to because you're
Yeah,
changing too many things at once. But then business, you can't just only change one thing at a time because then
yeah,
nothing. So
To your point, when you're changing too many things, that gives me it reminds me when we are sending emails, sometimes people are like, okay, let's do an A/B testing on the subject line, but also do an A/B testing on some other element, and we are always like, no, let's do one test at a time.
mhm.
Otherwise we'll never know what really worked, because
Yeah.
if you are going to create it a multi-factor analysis, then it is going to be too complex. So that's an excellent point. And
Right. Well, and then you can also lead to customer fatigue, where
yeah,
people are getting blasted with emails or blasted with ads, and they're like, I don't care about this anymore, or they
yeah,
unsubscribe, and then you've lost them entirely. So it's a delicate balance, a delicate game, even
yeah.
just normally, and then trying to come up with answers on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. So some of our marketing managers, they want to send too many emails during a promotion. So example, there's a 1 month promotion. They want to send an announcement email, a reminder email, and a second reminder email. And then sometimes you're like, and the only metric that they see is, oh, we still got the same number of clicks, or we got higher clicks. So
Mhm.
I created a new metric. I'm like, let's look at how many clicks we are getting, but how many unsubscribes we are getting at the same time as well. So let's see the ratio of clicks to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Because if you're losing a customer, then they're not going to see any emails from us.
Mhm.
And that's what we're trying to create a balance and educate the different marketing teams. Like, hey, unsubscription is very important. Like, you need to create a customer value for that. And so maybe you are able to help them click this one email, but if we lose them, then that's like a bigger price we're paying. All right. So my next question to you is how important it is to be data driven in marketing?
I mean, I feel like it's very important. I mean, well, that's the thing. So, like, I think it's really easy. It's really easy to overspend or to just spend a lot of money in marketing, right? Marketing is expensive. The way that it's set up, the way that, some of these, like Meta and some of these in Google, the vendors, they kind of have they kind of control all of the things. So you have to spend a certain amount of money in order to be able to go advertise. So it's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of money being spent. And so you don't, first of all, you want to know where your money is going and
Yeah.
why. Is it doing anything for you? And
Hmm.
you know, if you're like, oh, well, let's just go buy some, we'll just put these ads out there and see what happens. And oh, cool. I think business is up. Like, that's not going to get you anywhere,
Yeah.
Or you're going to have somebody coming to you, like, the CEO or CFO or someone being like, okay, this is a lot of money we're spending in marketing. Why?
Yeah.
So, definitely knowing where your money's going. And then
Yeah.
obviously beyond that, like you want to be able to answer questions like, okay, how is the campaign performing?
Yeah.
Are customers reacting to it? Are they engaging? Are they
Yes.
excited to get this email? Did they unsubscribe? Do they all hate us? Are we over cannibalizing everything?
Yeah.
Even as like there's one company that I personally use and you'll put an item in the cart and you kind of forget and you leave and they're like, "Oh, are you still thinking about this?" And they send you an email,
Abandoned cart email.
10%
Yeah.
off coupon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "This is great, you guys. Like, well, I'm gonna buy this thing even if I don't need it because
Yeah.
you sent me 10% off." Or,
Sometimes I'm just happy with their technology and I
right?
make a
Well, and
purchase.
clearly, like, the business is gonna do that if they think that there's a reason to. They're not just gonna be like, "Oh, here's a coupon, here's a coupon." But
Yeah.
there had to have been some sort of data driven insight to make them do that, to be like, okay, well, 8 times out of 10, if we send them this coupon, they're going to come back and buy it, and then they're going to buy another one, or they're going to buy a
Mm.
subscription. And so it's without the data behind those types of decisions that customers are making, like you're not
Mm.
going to know. Not only are you not going to know where your money's going or what to do with it, but then you're not going to know all these little tiny nuances that
Mm.
apply to just your business, or that you can kind of, those people you can lean more heavily on because it works, in your favor and their favor because you've
Yeah.
done analysis.
Yeah. And that's where I have two thoughts on this. One is like sometimes when you work with marketing agencies, they assume what worked with one client that should also work with other client, but it's very different.
Mhm.
Also, some companies which are B2C focused, the strategy that works for them, for example, Performance Max is a I don't like Performance Max. I still like search ads, but it works well for a B2C focused company. But sometimes they don't understand is it doesn't work at the same way with for any other client. So that's one. Second thought I had about how Google confuses people like optimize your ad, follow our recommendation.
Mhm.
And that recommendation is only helping Google. It's probably not helping your business, but it's all helping Google, making you spend more on the Google ads. And I just, and now with the in the AI age, it's so easy and fast to quickly create a keyword strategy, right? Quickly create a strategy for uh, find how much you want to pay for a click, but yet people still do broad match. They still say they select the settings as maximize my clicks, and then just that just hurts me because people are wasting their money.
That just goes to prove the importance of hiring the right people for your marketing team,
Yeah,
whether it's an analyst, whether it's a strategist, but though that's what AI will never be able to replace either.
yeah,
It's just kind of that understanding the client and the customer so much, and then the
yeah,
competitive landscape in order to then make those decisions and kind of, make things more efficient and and drive more revenue.
yeah. That's where leadership becomes so important in a marketing department, and that's something I've just realized over time. Like some people are very much open to ideas. I've also worked with people like that, and then I've also worked with people like, oh, we have been doing this. This is how it works. Yeah, sure, your data is cool, but just believe me on this.
Mhm.
So it's very important to have the right leadership. The leadership should really be investing in AI as well now. Like, are people, instead of just saying that AI might leak our data or something, you can do to your employees use AI safely and effectively, and it can save a lot of time.
Mhm.
All right. My next question is, can you give me an example of a campaign or a project that you're really proud of, that you did something and it worked?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing I'm proud of is my last job was basically we had our lead data in one data warehouse, and we had all of our Google kind of email campaign data in Google, Google Cloud. And I basically was able to just kind of bring them together, and I use Power BI, but bring them together in a cohabitable world,
Hmm.
and validate a lot of things along the way, but build a full lead, end-to-end view where people could,
Wow.
or the marketing team could see from, email engagements and emails going out, how many of those people ended up, converting and getting coming in and becoming revenue and stuff. And so
Wow.
it was just a nice end-to-end lead funnel view that had never existed. So that was probably the one I was most proud of because it was a lot of learning and a lot of banging my head against the wall, but but I did it and involved a lot of SQL, which I love. So
Yeah. That is amazing, because it is really hard. And who it helps the most, not the leadership, it helps us because we don't have to do the same repetitive question. We don't have to answer that if we build something like this.
well, and then you
That's,
put it in a dashboard and you're like, instead of, oh, well, I can get you that, be like, go look at the dashboard. It's
yeah.
right there.
But
And see and use me for the deeper dives. I'm happy to
yeah,
go to the deeper dives, but you don't need the basic metrics anymore because they're right there.
yeah. Oh, perfect. But you still have to remind them about the dashboard though, right? Don't you have to?
Oh, always. People, I mean, at some point, I want to go into someone's house and physically put it in their bookmarks bar and be like, this is the dashboard. I've tagged it for you.
Yeah.
Here it is.
So many times I've had the same person asking me, "You built that really cool dashboard for us. I forgot where it is." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure, I'll send it."
I know, just set it as like your Slack status or something. Like, this is the
Yeah.
dashboard.
So you mentioned a couple of tools, and my next question is like, what are some of the tools that you use in marketing that you love? For example, I love Alteryx. You mentioned Alteryx. My
Yeah.
God, I have days when my Excel crashes because I have so much data, but Alteryx is just like it takes 10 different Excel files so
Right.
smoothly, merge
Mhm.
them up together, and I we don't have Alteryx anymore, so I miss it. But
No.
yeah, I want to hear from you. Like, what are some of the tools that
Yeah,
you?
yeah. Alteryx, I love Alteryx, but I think it's getting too expensive for people, so they just
That's
don't
why we
really
cut.
use it. Um, but I like Tableau, which is also too expensive for people, so I don't get to use it. I think some what I'm seeing at least trend wise is just cloud, right? We're all moving to the cloud, and so like the ecosphere of the cloud. So Google tends to be the biggest one. I
Yeah.
think there's a Snowflake kind of a few different tools in there, but I haven't worked with it that much. So Google, it's like you got BigQuery in there, you've got, the Google Sheets and everything, and
Yeah.
then you've got, some machine learning capabilities in there. So that's kind of what I end up in the most. But in a perfect world, it would be Alteryx and Tableau, and
Yeah.
then, any SQL data warehouse ever. But I think as an analyst or someone who wants to become one, definitely SQL and Excel.
Yeah.
And then for marketing, learn a CRM platform, whether it's
Mm.
Salesforce or HubSpot. Just understand, you know,
Yeah.
client building and profiling and all that stuff, and then database management, but from a client perspective, so like a CRM
Yeah.
management. Um, that's always important. But SQL is just never going to die. So I think SQL is just learn that one.
Oh yeah, for sure. For example, we don't use Tableau in my company or much of Power BI. We use something called Click, and again, the behind the scenes in the Click editor, we use SQL style coding, so that sometimes really helps us build dashboards.
Mhm.
Great examples, and we use Salesforce for our CRM. I have never used HubSpot, but I'm very curious. I've heard great reviews. And then, do you have you also measured social media metrics? Have you used tools like Sprout Social or
I haven't
such?
had to because we've just brought it into BigQuery.
Okay.
And right now, my current job, we're using Looker Studio, so we kind of have
I love
integration.
Looker Studio too. Yeah.
I like it. It's just I just like to play with more things, so it feels limiting to me sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't fault the integrations and the connections with everything. So it's everything has a pro and con to it. So
Yeah.
it's it works.
What was your experience today?
Yeah, no, it was great. Thanks for having me, and it would talk about marketing analytics for years. So I'm sure if we were to talk about it in another like 6 months, it would be completely different, or there'll be something new that'll,
Definitely something new.
have shifted. So that'll be fun. But yeah, no, I enjoyed our conversation.
At the same time, it is interesting how some traditional principles and some traditional channels still exist. Like for some companies, it is the print advertising still works. Like it still helps, right? So you have newer channels, but you still have some, like you have newer channel like TikTok, but still sometimes those printed cards do help. So
Right.
that's the interesting part. And then the most important thing is like how do you balance it out?
Well, and
Whether
the
it's
audience, how are the audiences engaging with what you're sending them, right? Because
yeah,
if a 65-year-old, 70-year-old person is less likely to get on TikTok, that does happen. Don't
yeah,
discredit them. But, you're not going to send direct mail to a 20-year-old. I mean, you
yeah.
could. TikTok's more effective. So yeah, definitely, understanding the nuance behind the audience segmentation too, which is an entirely different subject we could talk about another time,
Wow. We're bringing more ideas at the end of the podcast.
right?
Customer segmentation, customer personas,
Right.
the value of scan codes, putting UTM to tags on. Oh my God. We need to have a separate discussion on that.
Right.
But thank you so much again for your time and stay in touch and hope to connect again.
Yeah, sounds great. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.